Hi, I'm Kathy Hester and welcome to my kitchen. We're going to do another appliance-centric talk today, and we're going to be using a new to me appliance called the Multo by Cooking Pal. So it's all of these pieces and parts and a few more. So I figured we could just learn about it together. So today what we're going to do is we're going to grind some coffee in it. So it does a lot of different things. Again, we're learning together, but it can knead bread, it can weigh things, it can chop, it can cook. It's not a pressure cooker, but it will cook like saute and different things like that. But I thought today we just start with the most basic things. So we're going to learn how to weigh in it and how to grind coffee. And then I think we're also going to go ahead and use its cleaning mode and see how that works. So there are a couple of different parts to it. So this is the motor. So it should be pretty snazzy. I'm going to turn this on and we'll hear some noises and things. And it turns blue when it connects to this. And this is its little hub. It's wireless. And it has a little cord that connects it so you can charge it up. It is rechargeable. And then this is our main part. And we'll look at, there has some steamers and things like that. If you're in Australia or perhaps in other areas, this kind of cooking appliance hasn't really become huge in the United States at this point, or possibly North America. Canadian friends, tell me if you've seen this before. Thermomix is another brand that I've heard of from Australia that does a lot of these similar things. So the idea is to replace a lot of different cooking appliances and kind of make cooking a little bit easier, which I'm super on board with. I want to show you the inside. So one side of this blade is sharp and one side is not. So it'll go one way to chop and another way if it's just stirring. So I find that pretty interesting. It also has, these connections which go into here. So we can go ahead and do that and make sure that's on there really good. And then the other part about this, so there's a couple of different parts to this. And you can do manual mode or use some of their recipes. I know they're working on more vegan recipes now, and we'll be doing a couple of things. I found a few that we can try for sure. And then it's going to have this like serious thing that's going to lock on here, which will be interesting. I think this is where the lock is, so that when you've got that blade going, and see how, this is going to come into here, right? And so it gave me a green light. It showed me that this was doing what it should do. So I wanted to test that out, and that means nothing can fly out and hit you in the face. So we like that. It also has like this super cool spatula that lifts up a steaming basket and things like that, but we're not there yet. So I'm going to show you some close-ups of this. All right, so one thing you're going to notice, and this is a touchpad, so we can just swipe and we could do knead, steam, saute, the scale. We want it to keep warm, and a manual mode, which is going to be for some of our recipes, and clean, and that's something we're going to do in a little bit. If we go to guided, we can find all these different recipes. So I think actually this nut roast is a vegan recipe. I haven't looked at it yet. But I'm going to come in here. I had looked up grind and grind coffee. So let's start. Got my ingredients. So I'm going to press the scale button. And it wants me to put 6 ounces. So I don't know if you guys can sort of see me in the background pouring some stuff in here. But I've opened up my coffee beans. Okay, so we've got our 6 ounces of beans, and it told me. All right, so then the next thing we're going to do is grind. So I think I need to put my lid on here. So let's switch cameras for that. Okay, so again, it's got, this part goes up here. There's a wider part here. Okay, and that pushes down really solid. Okay, got my green light. So you can see that there. We're going to grind it for a minute. So I click the grind button. I click the grind button here. It says for a minute, and we're going to press start here. It also gives us some information like butterfly whisk cannot be used, which makes total sense because why would you try to whisk when you're grinding? That seems like a bad idea. So we're going to press start. Doing it. Okay, so I can pause it by clicking pause. I can resume it by clicking resume. Okay, it tells me it's done. And it tells me it's done with a noise over there. All right, let's check it out. It's ground pretty fine, which is not necessarily my favorite thing. And actually, let me make more lights on. Here we go. So I would like it ground not as fine because this would be great for like an electric coffee maker. It's not going to be as good for my cold brew. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take that out and we'll put it in one container. And then I'm going to try grinding it and stopping it sooner and seeing how that works. Okay. So I'm just going to put that in here. Smells good. It's pretty uniformly ground. Let's see if you can see it. This where this is here a little bit better. I don't know how much you can see, but it's pretty darn uniform. I do like that. It's trying to think if this would be good for oats and things like that. That's one thing I'm curious about is can we grind what I'm curious about is can we grind different grains in here as well. So this time I'm going to move this. There's still some more coffee in here, so let me get that out. I'm not going to clean it, though I'll blow that away from the sides. And I've got this push down onto those. So I'm going to try and grind the rest. So let's just go back and I'll weigh again. And I don't think it needs to be any particular ounce, so I have 5.5 ounces. This was 12 ounces of coffee. You would think I would get 6 and 6, but no. All right, we see that there. I'm going to get this top on, okay? And now let's go back here again. We'll go to here. And can I change this, I wonder? Adjust the processing time to adjust the grind from fine to coarse. Does it give me any more information? Stay on recipe. Okay, so that was a hint. Oh, yes, I can. I have to. Okay, so I'll move this so you guys can see there's a knob here. So it's not a, So I'm going to actually go ahead and do it to 30 seconds, which probably isn't enough, but let's go find out. So I can do this here. I don't have to just stop it. Also, it gives me things like the time, the speed, and it has no Fahrenheit at this point. So let's try this. Let's check it and let's see what this looks like, because we could always do it more. This actually looks like exactly what I want. So this is much coarser. And hopefully you guys can kind of see that. And you definitely can see it compared to this. And I might even be able to go a little bit less, but let me put this into, I do have some coffee in there, but I wasn't super careful. Imagine that. Okay. So I'm just going to put this coarser, yeah. Okay, so we've got that. And I think you guys can see from here, possibly, this is much coarser. This is better for me in my brewing method. So the reason you would pick one over the other is a brewing method. Let me see if I can get this a little bit brighter, if that helps. But you can see this versus this. I can still use this for sure, and I think this is for a normal electric one, and so usually you want a little bit coarser for cold brew if you're doing your own cold brew. So I'm pretty happy with that. So let's come back here and put a note. So if I put a note, okay, I've got to press the edit, my suggestions, okay, and I'll just say seconds for cold brew. Okay. And then I want to save the note. And let's see what happens if I go all the way out now. If I go to here, I can see my note down here. It's still going to default to the regular time, but I see my note. So that's something cool. So in my email, I had a new updated user manual. So I went and looked at that because I noticed when we're looking at this cleaning recipe, it just says water. It doesn't say how much. And the max here, there's a 1, 2, and a 3. But in that manual, it said 4 cups. So I'm going to go get 4 cups of water. So I'm going to put this in again. Press it in really good. Let's look overhead. So there's lots of residue around the sides. I'm not cleaning any of that out yet. There's also some residue, coffee residue all around here. So I'm curious to see how much of this 4 cups of water. So there's the 4 cups of water recommended. And it just said a little dishwashing detergent. So I'm going to put 3 drops. That's about what I would put in my Vitamix. And then I'm going to put this lid on, and it only goes one way, so, and it slides in really tight, and it let me know. Okay, now let's go ahead. We could do a quick wash for 30 seconds or a deep wash. So let's do the quick wash and see what that looks like. Okay, so it kind of sped up and slowed down. And I can let you see some of this from the, you're not really seeing much. I can see that it's going and not. Okay, so that's done. Let's open it and let's see what looks kind of cleaned. Oh, okay. So all the sides are clean. So I feel like that 30 seconds did a really good, a much better clean than I thought. I'm still going to rinse this out. These are dishwasher compatible. And I believe the both parts can go in the dishwasher. So I think all you need to do is rinse this out. They're saying the 30-second clean is like for in between steps in a recipe. And the 3-minute is like when everything's done. But this is coffee, so there's not really that much to do. So I think what I'm going to do is rinse this out really good, and then maybe we'll try and grind some oats in here, and let's see if we can make oat flour while we're on the grinding train. Okay, so time has passed. I really dried this well, both of these, because if I'm trying to make flour and there's any kind of liquid or water on there, that's just going to make a moldy mess later on. So I looked on the app and there is an almond flour, but we don't need to, we could toast the oats if we wanted to, but for right now I just want to grind them. We're doing our basics and learning together, and we'll do a little bit more. Right now we know it can grind, it can wash itself, and let's see if it can make oat flour. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this. So just like you saw before, I'm taking out my ingredients. We're going to put it in the scale. We don't really need to measure this, but I'll measure it just. Okay, there's 7 ounces of oats in there. And maybe I should make it 6 ounces since that's what it's expecting with coffee. I don't know. This is an experiment. Here we go, 6 ounces. These are just rolled oats. So let me let you see that. Just plain old rolled oats. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll put this in my Vitamix to make this. Let's see, we might be able to see some stuff up here, so I'll let you see that. And I am this time going to let it go for a minute. It might need longer than a minute. Okay, you can see a little bit through the top, so that did it for 1 minute. Let's see what that looks like. Ooh, it actually looks really pretty good. Ooh, it's pretty fine. I'm going to see what happens if we go a little bit longer, because it seems like there's some dustier parts up at the top. So I'm going to let it, ooh, wrong way. I'm going to let it go for another minute and just see what happens. Okay, so let's open it one more time. And let's see if I did a good thing or a bad thing. It looks nice, fluffy. Ooh, this looks really good. Actually, this looks like store-bought. I usually just use my regular Vitamix container, and I don't think it does quite this good. So I could definitely see doing it for this. And I'm very curious about going ahead and maybe making some almond flour with it. So that might be another video coming up. So in the comments, let me know if you've even heard of an appliance like this that is kind of like food processor, blender. So you can, I haven't done these, we'll do these together. There's smoothies and soups and hummus and all different kinds of things, because this heats up and cooks, and actually it's not hot, but it feels a little warm from where it's gone. So I'm curious. There's actually a heating element, and you can control the temperatures in there as well. So this is different than any kind of multiple in one appliance that I've used before. And you can just move this this little control panel wherever you want to move it. So I could be downstairs doing something else while this is cooking. So again, this is another thing that I really like about using things like slow cookers, Instant Pots, that you don't have to be right up on it. Obviously, the things that we did today, we need to be here. But if you're going to make like a soup, a stew, something that's going to be longer cooking, you would be able to let it stir it for you instead of you doing that. And we'll find out more about that in upcoming videos.